Fultz looking, gets it to Banchero. Paolo driving through the middle, left-handed shot.
Game time.
Put in by Carter.
Game time.
Count it. Oh, man.
The Orlando Magic officially have 23 games left this season. Do they have what it takes to make the play-in tournament? Find out on this episode of Magic Monthly. So we have a couple of things to cover in this video, including the Orlando Magic's chances at making the play-in tournament. But first, I want to talk about the return of Jonathan Isaac. We have been waiting for him to return for 2.5 years, and he finally did it recently. He has played 10 games. In those 10 games, he has averaged 10.8 minutes per game, so he hasn't been playing a lot, but that's very understandable, of course. Because of the injury, he has averaged 4.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 1.2 steals, which is very impressive in only 10 minutes a game. I think he's averaging about 4 steals a game per 36 minutes, which is just phenomenal. Obviously, that gives us some flash of the former player that he was. Hopefully, he can get back to that. And he is averaging 0.3 blocks a game, so not really blocking a lot of shots. He is shooting a poor 38.3% from the field, 33.3% from 3, which is right on par with his career average from there, and a not great 55.6% from the free throw line. But guys, this is to be expected. He was obviously going to be rusty. He hasn't played in 2.5 years. I mean, you know, you got to give the guy time to get back into the rhythm of things. He's only played in 10 games. He hasn't played any back-to-backs, only playing 10 minutes a game. Once he gets those minutes bumped up a little bit, I think those shooting percentages will rise, as well as the statistical numbers as well. But he has shown a lot of good things in his short amount of time out there. He has often been the spark plug in a couple of these games to really get the Magic back in a game or to build the lead with the bench unit. He has fit in very well with that bench unit. So his 2 best games statistically were his very first game back on January 23rd versus the Boston Celtics in Amway Center. He got a great standing ovation that night. It was a great night for Orlando Magic fans, and he definitely showed out with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 2 3-pointers in only 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Fantastic performance, obviously, in his first run of the season, and that was very encouraging to see. He was giving us flashes of the old Jonathan Isaac. Even got a steal on Jaylen Brown that led to a Paolo Banchero dunk on the other end in that game. That was a great win for Orlando, and they won that game 113-98. And then his next best game was on February 3rd in Minnesota versus the Timberwolves, where he scored 9 points, got 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal in 9 minutes and 53 seconds. Really brought a lot of energy in that win. That was the game that Mo Bamba got into the fight with Austin Rivers, which is a whole nother story. The Magic did end up winning that game 127-120. Going forward, what do I think of Jonathan Isaac for this season? I don't think he will be a starter. I just don't see it happening. I don't see them rushing him into playing 25 plus, 30 plus minutes a game. I hope that he could get there next season, of course, but I do understand if that isn't possible as well. But I think they will raise him to around 12 to 15 minutes a game, maybe even pushing that, close to 20 minutes a game. Think about like Markelle Fultz when he came back last year. He was only playing about 20 minutes a game off the bench, and then in those last couple games they raised him up to 25, 28 minutes, and now he is fully recovered. I expect the same thing for Jonathan Isaac towards the end of this season. So next up, we're gonna talk about the NBA trade deadline. The Magic did make some moves here, and we're not only going to talk about the trade deadline, but obviously moves that came after the trade deadline, like buyouts and waiving certain players and all that type of stuff. So the Orlando Magic did make a trade on trade deadline day. They traded longtime member of the Orlando Magic, Mo Bamba, former number 6 pick in the 2018 draft for the Magic, to the Los Angeles Lakers for Patrick Beverley, who the Magic then bought out. He then joined the Chicago Bulls recently, and the Magic received a future second round pick from the Lakers and $2 million in cash. Now, what do I think of this trade? It's not a ton of value for Mo Bamba, but then again, you have to remember Mo Bamba was out of the rotation. What can you really get for a guy that is not in the rotation, that isn't really getting a lot of minutes? He may have been productive in those minutes, but at this point, I think a lot of teams know what Mo Bamba is. He's a backup big that can give you some shooting and some rim protection, but he's pretty inconsistent and has a very low motor. And, you know, the Lakers probably were thinking, let's take a shot. They did end up trading Thomas Bryant there, so they needed a backup big anyway, and they're probably betting on Bamba's potential since he still is a young player. So we will see what happens there. We wish Mo Bamba the best in Los Angeles. And then a couple of other moves that the Magic made. They bought out another longtime member of the Orlando Magic, Terrence Ross, after 7 seasons with the team. Ross was traded here in 2016 for Serge Ibaka, and he was a huge part of those Nikola Vucevic and Steve Clifford led teams. He really was a spark plug off the bench, absolute 6th man of the year candidate year in and year out during those runs, and really a huge reason why the Magic made the playoffs in those 2 seasons in 2019 and 2020. And he then signed with the Phoenix Suns, the new powerhouse team with Kevin Durant over there, and I wish him the best. He did already play a game with them where he scored 16 points off the bench, so it seems to already be working out for him over there. Ross is the ultimate professional and never complained about his role in Orlando, and he will be missed, and we wish him the best of luck in Phoenix. And now on to an addition for the Orlando Magic. They recently waived Indiana Pacers center Goga Bitadze, and this guy is a solid backup center. They signed him to a 2-year deal. The second year is a team option, so for next year. And he's a solid option at the backup center. He didn't get a lot of, run in Indiana, but the guy has potential to be a solid rim protector, rebounder, finisher at the rim, as well as a capable shooter from outside. I wouldn't say he's a sniper from out there, but think like a Mo Wagner type signing a couple seasons ago, and then Mo really turned into a productive player for the Magic. We can only hope that the same thing happens with Bitadze. I think it's a low risk move and a very good signing for the Magic to fill in some of that center depth and to address some of the rebounding problems that we've had recently. And finally, the 2 most recent moves that the Orlando Magic have made, which is the waiving of RJ Hampton. And RJ was a guy that we got in the Aaron Gordon trade a couple seasons ago, along with Gary Harris and a first-round pick in 2025 from Denver. And the Magic did decide to waive him. They decided not to pick up his team option a couple months ago, and he then in turn split with his longtime agent Mike Miller, which is also Paolo Banchero's agent, and Wendell Carter Jr.'s agent as well. So that kind of gave a little bit of a hint as to RJ's future with this team. Also the fact that the Magic have Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, so many guys, Caleb Houston, that they have to give minutes to, that were just playing better than RJ was. RJ was pretty inconsistent, although this season he did contribute when he was given the opportunity. Again, an ultimate professional. I absolutely wish him well in Detroit, because he did get picked up not even an hour later by the Detroit Pistons off of waivers. So we wish him well with the Pistons, and we can only hope that he starts balling out and that he, can get his career on track. And then the final move, subsequently, the Orlando Magic converted two-way player Admiral Schofield to a regular contract, a standard contract with the team, a full-time player now, and congratulations to Admiral. He's absolutely an extremely hard worker, and he deserves every bit of that contract, and now he is a legitimate part of the team. And I kind of would expect the Orlando Magic to maybe give Kevon Harris the same treatment, but he is signed to a 2-year two-way deal, so I guess there's no rush for that. But the Orlando Magic do currently have one regular roster spot open still and one two-way spot as well, so there's still room for additions in the future. And now let's get down to business here, talking about, will the Magic make the play-in tournament? And I have some thoughts on this. Obviously, the Orlando Magic have 23 games left. They're currently the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference. You have to be within the top 10 seeds to make the play-in tournament and have a chance to make the playoffs. Seeds 7 through 10 compete in a mini tournament in order to see who can take those 7 and 8 spots and make the official playoffs. But I do think the Magic have a shot at getting to the play-in tournament. They would have to play extremely well, which they have been playing very well as of late, but I think they even need to kick it up another notch here. This is where you're gonna really be able to tell if this team is ready to take that extra leap, or if it's gonna be best left for next season. So the Magic's current record is 24-35 as of the All-Star break. Once again, they have 23 games left. From October 19th to December 5th, the Magic were 5-20 on the season. This is a big reason why they're not in the play-in tournament or even the playoffs right now. The Magic have had, I believe, the 7th or 8th best record in the league since December 7th. Since December 7th, the Magic have been 19-15, so an above 500 record. They would be right there with the New York Knicks and Miami Heat. And because of that, I think the Magic will have a winning record in these last 23 games. I think they will go 12-11 in these last 23 games for a record of 36-46, but sadly I do think they just missed the playoffs. I think they get the 11th seed and just barely miss out, but I will be extremely excited, as should every Magic fan, if they are competing in meaningful games and competing to get into that play-in spot. And if they miss it by just a little bit, we should be extremely proud of this team this year, because they will have taken a huge step, and you can guarantee, I would bet money on it today, that the Magic will make the NBA playoffs next season. And lastly, we're gonna go over the player of the month for the month of January, since I did not tell you guys that in the last video. So here we go. It is FRANZ Wagner. He played 13 out of 14 games. The only game that he missed was the first game of the new year because of the suspension, because he got up from the bench when Mo Wagner got into the fight in Detroit. And in those 13 games, he averaged 19.9 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1.2 steals on great shooting efficiency, 52.5% from the field, 44.6 from 3, 75% from the free throw line, and he did all of this in 32.6 minutes a night. He had a fantastic month of January. He has fallen off in February, but hopefully he can pick it back up again in these last 23 games. So guys, we are about to get into the stretch run. We are gonna see some exciting basketball all around the league, but especially Magic basketball. And if you guys have not checked out my other Magic videos, go ahead and click on any of these anywhere on the screen. I don't know where it'll be, but go ahead and click on them. Remember to subscribe and leave a like. That helps me out so much. And guys, most importantly, have a great rest of your day.